consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Cathrine, co-host and bestie.
Hello, co-host and bestie.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Pod Lab for episode 133.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. It's a big deal. I'm so excited that we're well into the 100s of these episodes.
I know.
I think we should celebrate something, like when we get to episode 150.
Oh, what should
do
we
it.
do?
I don't know. Have a party. Just a reason to celebrate something, right?
Okay. How about get a light?
Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. We're sitting
Let's
in
do
the
that.
Pod Lab, which is a spare bedroom of my house, and it's a little dark in here because there's no light in the corner.
Right, and I need UV light, but safe
Speaking
kind.
Speaking of, today's topic, what is it, Cathrine?
It is Skin Cancer Melanoma Awareness.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about it because it's an important topic that we all need to know about.
Yeah, we both feel passionate about it.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just joining us for the first time, let's welcome you aboard to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast train. Toot, toot. Here we go. And we're just two best friends that bring a topic to light once a week. So we drop episodes every Wednesday at noon. So please listen to them, download them, like them,
Tell
comment.
your friends.
Yes.
Share.
We are at 14,000 downloads.
I know. I saw
right
that.
Now. Yeah, that's
I know.
kind of a thing.
Proud of that.
Yeah, we have no idea what it all means, but we're getting there.
Well, we do know that that's pretty good standard to go by.
Yeah, it's a number. 14,000 people downloaded our voices.
Yeah, and that's just downloads. I've said this before. That does not show us like how many are actually listening. That's just downloads.
Yeah.
And not everybody downloads.
I'm thinking I can't even get my kids to listen to me, but we got 14,000 downloads.
I know.
Yeah, that's right.
Shame.
Anyway, let's move on. Hey, we have sponsors to the podcast as well, and we call them humor contributors.
Right.
Because they've passed over from humor consumer to humor contributor. So we'd like to thank all of them. They sponsor us with $5 a month, which they don't even know it's missing. It's like robbing them. But we so appreciate it. And you can be a humor contributor too, just by going to the show notes of this episode, or you can go to my website, tracydegraff.com, and you can sign up there. Or you can just go to Patreon, patreon.com, and look for the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. And there you will see.
Bada bing, bada boom. Pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. That will be them. By the way, what you'll get in exchange for your $5 is just our sincere thanks. Nothing else.
Usually a shout out.
Yes.
And sometimes a video. Very sometimes.
Yes.
As of right now, but we're working on that.
Yes, because we're technology challenged, or however you want to say it.
That's why we need your money.
Right, so we can learn. We want to go to a conference in, is it in January? The conference?
Yes.
There's a conference happening near Orlando, Florida, and it's happening in January 2024. I guess it happens every year, probably, except for the dark years of pandemic. We'd like to go to this. It's called PodFest.
Yeah.
And it costs money to get there, costs money to go, costs money to stay in a hotel, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to sponsor us for that, just send us your money and we'll get that going.
For a greater cause.
It is a greater cause.
It's really for you, listeners.
Yes.
It's not for us. It's for you.
Exactly. So we can learn. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on with our topic. Skin cancer, melanoma, all the fun.
Yeah.
Right? Let's get into it.
Okay.
We've got a couple takeaways. First, we're going to do a quiz. I'm going to quiz Cathrine, and you listeners can answer the quiz in your own head or out loud if you so dare. And it's called, How Much Do You Know About Skin Cancer?
Okay.
And it comes from skincancer.org, which is like a foundation to help bring awareness to skin cancer. So that's going to be good. Second takeaway, we're going to go over the basics of skin cancer. Catherine's done a bunch of research on that, and we're going to talk about it. And then finally, prevention, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's pretty preventative for the most part.
Yes, prevention.
So that's the good news.
Yeah, prevention/early detection, friends. Don't be afraid of cancer. If you catch it early, you get rid of it.
Right, and we're not going to be the Grim Reapers here. It's laugh anyway. Life happens. Laugh anyway.
That's right.
Just want to help you.
Yes, and help ourselves, because this really does help us. Okay, so let's get to the quiz. Here's the quiz.
Okay.
How much do you know about skin cancer?
Let's find out.
Okay, I clicked Start Quiz. What is the most common form of skin cancer? And it's multiple choice.
Oh,
we played games last night.
Yeah, we did. Oh, my gosh.
Side note.
Yeah.
Muffin has got a problem. he has got a problem.
So particular.
It was like a trivia, like an 80s trivia game.
Which is fun.
If everybody's chill.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was being the oldest child in the room, basically. It was so funny. There were 3 oldest children that were all kind of fighting over like the particulars of the rules.
Yes.
The rules of the game.
Yes.
So there was Cathrine, there was my husband, Ron.
And my son, Patrick.
Yeah. And I pointed out, as the baby in my family, I pointed out, look at this. Look at these 3 oldest in the family all pointing out the rules.
We did want to go by the rules. That's true. I would say, though, that Muffin, your Muffin over there, he was definitely a little bit more revved up about it.
Yeah.
And he sort of was making up his own rules.
Yeah.
By trying to abide by the rules.
Right.
Weird.
So one of his rules was, if it was a multiple choice question, nobody could say an answer until all of the options were given. Yeah. Otherwise, they were done. You're out. You're out. I'm just sitting there going, that is hilarious. All right. So getting back to the quiz. Yeah. Question number 1.
Yes.
What is the most common form of skin cancer? Is it squamous? How do you say that? Squamous cell carcinoma. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Squamous cell, basal cell carcinoma, melanoma, Merkel cell carcinoma, or other.
It's the basal, BCC.
Basal cell carcinoma. Yeah. And that is correct.
Yeah, see?
About 3.6 million cases of basal cell carcinoma are diagnosed in the U.S. each year.
Don't eat any more basil, people.
Yeah. And I actually had that, or have it, on the tip of my nose.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so it's manageable.
Oh, 100%. And I would have never known that I had it, except for Muffin had something weird growing on his arm, and it was spreading, and it looked disgusting. And I said, you're dying. There's something wrong with you. We're taking you to the dermatologist.
I'm going too.
Yeah. So I went with him, and I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get that checked, and I'm going to get a mole check, because I've never had that done, and I heard it was a good idea.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have even gone, except for Muffin
for
had his thing growing on him.
His leprosy.
Yeah. Well, it turned out that he had a fungus on his arm.
Does he want you to say that?
It's a fungus. I don't know. The skin is all kinds of bacteria and stuff on it. And he works in the dirt. You know, he's a heavy equipment operator, so he has dirt on his skin all the time.
Yeah.
So it could have been related to that, because there's fungi. Ron's a fun guy.
He's a fun guy. That's true.
So anyway, and the fungus was very treatable. It was just a little antifungal cream that he had to put on it, and then it was all done.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had that. Well, when I got my checkup, I had this little dry flake of skin on the top of my nose that just wouldn't moisturize. Like, it wouldn't go away. It just kept. And that's what it was. It was a basal cell carcinoma.
Yeah.
And the fix is, as long as you catch it early, which this was early.
Yeah.
The fix was just
scrape it.
No, it wasn't a scraping. It was some kind of a they take this like dry ice.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like a freezing or a burning.
Like they do with warts.
Whatever it is, they bring it down to whatever layer of your skin that it's got to go to. So then you leave there with this little mark. Looks like, like you got a little punch in the nose type thing.
Yeah.
Heals up and it's done.
Yeah.
Well, then once you know it's there, you go back to get it checked. And so now I go back every year just to get a mole check.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've had to have this done again. And other times there's nothing there. So we just wait.
Yeah.
And she tells me, if anything does appear, then come in before the year mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. We'll get you in.
All right. So there's no harm in having a basal cell carcinoma if you catch it and you get rid of it.
Yes.
All right.
That's right.
Next question. True or false? If you have a family history of melanoma, you are at greater risk for developing the disease.
Yes.
True.
True.
That is true. All right. Let's see. What do they say about it? That's correct. Heredity. Heredity plays a major role in melanoma. About 1 in every 10 patients diagnosed with the disease has a family member with a history of melanoma.
1 in 10.
Yeah,
okay.
so ask around. Ask your parents, grandparents, did anybody have melanoma? And if you have it, let your descendants know. All right, question 3. There's only 10 of these questions, by the way. True or false? Skin cancer is found only on areas of your body which are exposed.
False. That is definitely false.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
That was a shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
It is false. Skin cancers may develop on unexposed areas of the body, including soles of your feet, genitals,
Your butt.
hello, and even on your mucous membranes. So I don't know how they're going to get in there.
I don't, yeah.
Put on the hazmat suit and going into the mucous membrane.
Gonna go where the sun don't shine.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right. Question 4. Which of the sun's rays cause skin cancer? Now, this is a multiple choice. Is it UVA rays, UVB rays, both UVA and UVB rays, or neither?
I'm gonna say UVB.
Okay.
Because UVB is burn.
Okay. Incorrect.
Oh.
It's both.
Oh, I was going to say that too.
Oh, well, you missed out.
Yeah.
It says both UVA and UVB rays penetrate the atmosphere
Trick
and play.
question.
Well, it was very clear. And play
I just made a face at her.
an important role in conditions such as premature aging, eye damage, and skin cancers.
Okay.
So you know it's both. All right, question 5. What is SPF? And this is multiple choice. A measure of sunscreen's ability to prevent UVB from damaging the skin. A measure of what fraction of the sun's ultraviolet rays can penetrate a fabric. A measure of the number of ingredients in a sunscreen's formula, or none of the above.
It's a toss-up between none of the above and the first one.
Well, which one are we going with?
Okay. I am going to say none of the above.
Okay, so let's see. Check. None of the above. It says incorrect.
Darn it.
That's not right.
Thought I was so knowledgeable.
SPF, or sun protection factor, is a measure of a sunscreen's ability to prevent UVB from damaging the skin. And here's how it works. If it takes 20 minutes for your unprotected skin to start turning red, using an SPF 15 sunscreen theoretically prevents reddening 15 times longer, so about 5 hours.
Okay.
However, in reality, sunscreen wears away and loses strength after a while in the sun, so you need to reapply at least every couple of hours and immediately after sweating or swimming.
I did read that.
Plus, it's hard to get at all your areas when you're applying sunscreen.
Well, and it seems like you're a fanatic when you're using what they actually recommend, which is like a shot glass worth, you know, for your body. And if you're bigger, I would imagine you need 2 shot glasses, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like an obnoxious amount. And it's so expensive, and I've always been one to kind of ration things. So,
Yeah.
but the older I get, the more I want to be protected. So,
Well, especially with something so important as your life.
absolutely.
Okay. Question 6. True or false? People who first use a tanning bed before age 35 increase their risk for melanoma by 75%.
True.
That is true.
Yep.
Sadly, that is true.
Yep.
You're right. This alarming statistic is indeed true. In addition to having an increased risk for melanoma, those who are using tanning beds are also at greater risk for basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma.
Darn it.
Yeah. So no tanning beds ever.
No.
There is never
over and over
a
again,
reason.
It says that in all the literature, all the news, all of it. It's unanimous. Don't use it.
If you don't believe us, Google it.
Yeah.
And look up the study, because there's been, scientific studies that have shown that it's bad. There's just no reason for it.
Yeah.
Just embrace your whiteness. Who cares? Okay. Question 7. Complete the following sentence. Infants under the age of 6 months should be kept out of sunlight, can go out in sunlight if they have sunscreen on, should be exposed to the sun so they get a base tan at a young age, or none of the above.
Oh, I didn't realize this was multiple. Read it again.
Okay.
This is multiple choice?
Yes.
Okay.
You're completing the following sentence. Okay. Infants under the age of 6 months should be kept out of sunlight, or can go out in the sun if they have sunscreen on, or should be exposed to the sun so they get a base tan at a young age.
Yeah.
Or none of the above.
They can go in the sun if they have sunscreen on.
Wait, no, incorrect.
Oh.
Yeah. No, they should be kept out of the sunlight.
Oh, wow.
If they're under 6 months old, keep them out of the sunlight. Because infants' skin is so sensitive, it's better in the first 6 months to shield them from the sun rather than use sunscreen. So,
dang, that's hard.
Okay, but basically you're the mother of this little infant, and it's your job to protect this child, right? You can protect them from the sun by not having them out during, real sunny times. You can protect them from the sun by covering them, with clothing or shade or like the umbrella type thing.
Get a parasol.
Yeah, but it says that it's especially important to avoid direct sun exposure and seek the shade during the sun hours of greatest intensity between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Keep to the shady side of the street on walks and always use the sun shield on your stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're too little. Okay. Oh, did you have a question?
No.
All right, question number 8. Which of the following celebrities passed away from melanoma? Bob Marley, Paul Newman, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Steve McQueen.
Bob Marley.
That is correct. He had a weird melanoma on his toe. Yeah.
On his toe, huh?
Yeah, it was underneath his toenail. And there's a name for it. It's extremely rare. It's a rare type of melanoma.
Huh.
And I looked it up. I think I sent it to you as we were researching back and forth. But what it does is it develops underneath the nail bed of either like a thumb. Usually it's on the thumbnails of your hands or your big toenails.
Really?
And it presents itself just as like a stripe, like a darkened area.
Oh, wow.
And of course, he had gotten tested. He knew he had it. Oh. And the doctor actually recommended that he get his toe amputated because you have to get it out of there or it'll spread. Well, he didn't want to do that because he thought it would decrease his, performing ability. He was only 36.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Decrease his performing ability?
Right.
What did he use his toe for?
Walking around. Standing.
Thought you meant his music ability.
Everybody knows Bob Marley played the guitar with his toe, Catherine.
I'm thinking, what did that have to do? Okay.
No, I mean, I think I've heard it said that your big toe, if you lose your big toe, you lose a lot of balance and all that.
Yeah.
So maybe he would have had to, walk with a
flipper.
Limp or I don't know. I don't know, but he didn't want to get the surgery to lose his big toe. And because he did that, this cancer took his life.
Yeah. Your toe or your life? I would pick my toe.
No, you would pick your life.
I meant I would pick, right.
Yeah. Get rid of the toe.
I meant,
right.
Pick to lose the toe, not my life.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
All right, question number 9. True or false? 1 in 5 Americans will be diagnosed with skin cancer by the age of 70.
True.
Let's see, is that correct? Correct. You are right. This statistic is unfortunately true. Skin cancer is the most common cancer in the United States. Final question. What can be done to help prevent skin cancer? This is multiple choice. Okay. Daily use of broad spectrum UVA, UVB sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Seeking the shade, especially between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Covering up with clothing, including a broad-brimmed hat and UV-blocking sunglasses, or all of the above.
All of the above.
Yes, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yes, all of the above.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that covers some of the stuff I was going to cover. So that's why I knew some of the answers.
Yeah. Well, it's all good information.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if someone wasn't really listening in that part of it, they get a chance to hear it again.
Well, why would they not be listening to us, Catherine? That is my question.
Well, we could be distracted.
No, they're listening.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, not at all. Pay attention, people. All right. So now Catherine's going to go over like a basic overview of some of the things that she learned about skin cancer.
Yeah. Well, as we have discussed some of it already, skin cancer is the most common type of cancer in the U.S. and worldwide. According to the Skin Cancer Foundation, and we just said this too, 1 in 5 Americans will develop skin cancer by the age of 70. That's a lot of people.
You know, my mother-in-law lives in the Villages, and she said in Florida, which we've talked about. Yeah. We did that podcast. But she said when you walk around the Villages, you see people all over the place with those little Band-Aids, like they've all had something cut off of them.
Oh,
because they're out in the sun,
yeah,
you know, and they're over 70.
Mm-hmm.
So be careful, friends.
Yes.
Yes.
And get this, more than 2 people die of skin cancer in the U.S. every hour.
Wow.
I know, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we want to know, why does skin cancer form? Well, skin cancer occurs when cells in the epidermis start to grow out of control. This happens when the cell is damaged by the UV rays. In the UV rays, you're getting that from 2 places. That's just the sun and the tanning beds. Yeah. And so then that causes like a mutation in the cell. And as we said, there's many different types of cancers, but the BCC is one of the most common. Oh, and by the way, when that cell, when it's damaged, then it mutates and then it grows to an abnormal like growth, and also then tumors can form as well.
So everybody's at risk because we all have skin.
Yeah.
And the danger is the sun or the tanning beds. So you can eliminate one of those by just not going to the tanning beds. Just make that a no-go.
Right.
You're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. And then when it comes to the sun, you just have to be careful.
Exactly.
And then it'll help.
Exactly. And this is just a basic overview of melanoma. Tracy's going to go into more depth. You're still doing that, right?
Yeah, I've got some stuff to say about that.
So, but on the other end of the spectrum from the BCC, melanoma is the most deadly form of skin cancer, and an estimated 207,390 cases of melanoma were diagnosed in the U.S. in 2021. And of which of that 101,280 cases were invasive, penetrating the epidermis deeper into the skin's second layer. And did you know that, I forget where I learned it, but a melanoma, you can have a mole on top of a mole, or the cancer can be within the mole. So like you have this mole on top of a mole and deep in within the mole.
Well, that's the beauty of the body and the beauty of cancer. I believe they call that like in situ. When the cancer is encapsulated inside of something, it's called in situ, meaning it's still contained within the walls of the body, is doing something to try to wall it off, you know? And when it escapes that in situ section, then it typically goes to the lymph nodes, which then it carries it throughout the body. That's the invasive part of it.
Right.
That's the part where, okay, now Elvis has left the building.
Yeah.
He's going to make a bunch of more Elvises.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some key risk factors are individuals who have lighter skin tones. They may have freckles, as well as green or blue eyes, so lighter colored eyes, blonde or red hair. They are more likely to develop skin cancer over their lifetime. Also, as we said earlier, those who have a family or personal history of skin cancer are also more at risk. So also, in addition to that, anyone who has had a sunburn or multiple sunburns, even if it was at childhood, you have an overall increased risk, regardless of all those other factors that I just mentioned. Having 5 or more sunburns does double one's risk factor for melanoma, though. So not just the skin cancers, but the melanoma.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about skin cancer is that it's not a foregone conclusion that if you got a sunburn when you were a teenager, you're going to have melanoma. That's not the case. And some people never develop a melanoma, obviously. You know, you mentioned that there were like over 200,000 melanoma diagnoses in the U.S. Just in 2021, and half of them were invasive, so that's more dangerous, right? But that doesn't mean that everybody who had, so it's kind of random in that way. They cannot determine why it is that this person had the unfortunate experience of developing a melanoma and they had a sunburn, and this person also had a sunburn and they did not develop it.
Yeah, they're just risk factors.
Right.
So when you factor them all together, that's where, you know, it comes into a clearer picture.
Yeah. So sucks that
it does.
It does suck. It sucks that cancer is a thing. Ugh. But we got to face the facts, and
that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I wanted to point out, too, I'm getting these from two different sources. One is a magazine that I got from our local healthcare place at Riverside Healthcare. And this other one is from a dermatologist that my family goes to. And it's called Pinnacle Dermatology, and it's a blog by someone there. I did not know this till recently. UVA and UVB, I do know this, that they're the two main types of sun rays.
Okay.
And both of them contribute to the skin cancer, which we went over that in the quiz. And it damages the DNA in your skin. So when you think of it that way, too, like your skin is your DNA and it's damaging it. UVA, think of this. That's the aging rays. So the A for aging? I don't know if it officially stands for that, but that's what it says here.
Nice way to remember it.
Right. So the UVA rays, they cause tanning, which is a sign of skin damage, and premature aging, so your wrinkles and your age spots. And that can pass through windows and clouds.
Yeah, so even if it's a cloudy day, you're still getting exposure to UVA.
The UVB, B for burning. They are the primary cause of UVB, I'm sorry, is the primary cause of sunburn, and it's blocked by window glass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you want to have a sunscreen or a shade shelter or something that's going to protect you from the UVA as well as the UVB.
Exactly.
You need something for both.
Right. Also, another risk is aging. Just as we age, our exposure to UV rays has, definitely had its time to catch up to us.
Yeah. So,
and the skin's DNA triggers those mutations and so forth. So that is also a risk. And again, we can't say it enough, the tanning and sunburn, they are signs of skin damage, and it can roll into, in later years, a lot of damage. It only takes as little as 11 minutes of unprotected skin to get, turn red and get some damage to it. So,
one of the things that I've done over many years, I don't even remember when it was that I started doing it, but I wear a sunscreen every single day.
I do too. Not on my arms, but my face and neck.
Well, the recommendation that I found was that women, especially because we put on makeup every day, just get a makeup that has sunscreen in it.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
It's easy. And they've come such a long way in developing formulas that are not greasy or slimy or smelly.
They're nice and light too. They don't sting your eyes. That used to be my big issue. Was I tried so many different sunscreens that say they won't, they don't have dyes or perfumes or anything, and yet my eyes would sting up, and then I would just give up. But now I found some makeup that I like. So I wear the primer underneath, which has SPF 15, and then my actual foundation makeup also has SPF 15.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
I do the same thing. So I have a regular sunscreen, a CC cream, whatever it's called. It has the sunscreen in it, and it's white. And I squirt it in my hand, a little blob of it, and then I just add a pump of my foundation and mix those two together and slap it on my face.
Yeah, but now that I really realize that the 15 doesn't really last all day.
Yeah.
So there's that issue. Look at that. You just scratched the back of your neck, and all of a sudden
funny.
I had to, and it
Isn't
really
that
was
funny?
itchy. Yeah.
Well, the point of it though is that we're not out in the sun every single day, but if you put on makeup, if you are already wearing makeup, wear one with a sunscreen so that you get that extra protection.
Definitely.
And then if you're planning on going to the beach or the zoo or wherever and you're going to be outside, add to that.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're wearing a big hat and sunglasses and some kind of extra stuff.
Yeah, and it looks cute. I mean, wearing
Adorable.
a hat looks nice.
It's adorable.
And I know some people say, I don't look good in a hat. Well, find one
that looks
is
good.
more suitable for you.
The other place to put sunscreen is on your hands. As we get older, see that? I've got this lovely aging
I've got a lot.
spot. But put the stuff on your hands and also right here on your neck.
Yeah, I put it there too.
On your neck and on your chest. So that's a good tip.
Yes.
Okay, what else you got?
I want to point out that just one blistering sunburn in childhood more than doubles the lifetime risk of melanoma. I know I feel like we're kind of repeating ourselves, but I just feel like it's just so important. So we could just keep driving it in there.
Well, it's great information for us as women who we've already raised our kids. But if anybody's listening to us with young children, just be the sunscreen mom. Just be that sunscreen mom and make sure that they're covered.
And don't use those sprays, folks. I don't have that information in front of me, but I know that I heard at some point that those spray sunscreens that you just spray because it's easy and your kid's not going to fight you as much, those are not good enough. You're supposed to put on at least a shot glass, 1 ounce or shot glass worth of sunscreen on. And I can't remember the other reason why that the aerosol type is not good, but so you want to stay away from that and just put on that stuff. My son, Patrick, oh my gosh, his whole life, he hated sunscreen. I mean, he would fight me and fight me. I did give up like at some point because it was just such a fight, every time.
Well, one thing that you can do if you have younger children is buy them swimsuits that have the long sleeves. I've seen a lot of that, especially in younger children, because they're little kids, just put them in it and make it a norm. There's a splash park right there in Manteno, and I was just there the other day watching moms with their kids, and they all had these long sleeves on. That's the best way.
Yeah, I think it's easier to do that when they're little. They get to be around, I don't know, 4th grade, 5th. It's real hard to get them to wear stuff like that. Well, but do what you can.
Do your best.
Yeah.
So,
sunscreens, they're all, very important, but you have to make sure that you get it where it has the UVA and UVB protectant. And also just remember that those numbers, 15, 30, 35, 40, 50, they only mean the length of time that it's good for. And really, you should always be reapplying anyway every 2 hours.
Yeah. And I'm of the mindset of I do not want my skin to turn colors because that's a sign that it is damaging. I want my skin to be lily white like God made it. And I don't care if my skin is whatever color your skin is, just be happy with the skin you're in. Who cares if it's whatever color it is?
Okay, so I do have to say, I do like that look of like just pale kind of look, but I also like the tan look. I know it's damaging, but
you have to
I don't know.
Go back into like the 1700s when people really adored others who had really light skin because they knew that they didn't have to go out in the field.
Right.
Do anything.
That's just it. I think like the Renaissance era or Victorian or something, the plumper you were and the whiter you were.
Oh, it's my people.
It was people that were rich because they didn't
They're fat and happy.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Oh,
yes, exactly.
Didn't have skin cancer.
Oh gosh, that's funny. Also, the sun rays are strongest between 10 and 2. I know that between 10 and 4 has been mentioned, but it's really at its strongest between 10 and 2. But to be safe, especially if you're younger or you have young kids, stay in, between 10 and 4. So
be mindful of that when you're planning vacations or whatever. Just try to do your outdoor activities early in the day or late in the day.
Right, exactly. And then, are you going to go over the ABCDs of skin cancer?
I can. I have it here.
Okay. I have it as well, but you go ahead. Also, I just want to say this too. I did not know this before, but men are at much higher risk for getting skin cancer. And it strikes them disproportionately, in terms of compared to women.
Do you think that that's because they're outside more?
It does
like for those jobs and such?
It does say that the reasons why they're more likely to die, not just have skin cancer, but die from it, is because they have had longer periods of time in unprotected exposure to the sun from outdoor work and activities. Think about golfing too, things like that. I mean, so
and
guys,
sports. What about like track and field and different sports like that? Yeah.
But overall, like I was thinking about outdoor work, like blue collar work.
Sure.
But then I thought about, there's a lot of white collar folks who golf and do things like that. So and a lot of people work from home now. And a lot of them, according to HGTV, are on the beach.
They're on the
working.
beach doing their job.
Yeah.
Well, and I think maybe, I don't know if this is true or not, but perhaps it is, that men, maybe they're not as prone to go and take care of something if they see something. I don't know.
That's exactly right. It does say that on here, that they are way less likely to follow up on something like that when they see it. And they also said they're more likely to not even look at it.
Right.
So there's both there.
Okay.
And they're less likely to wear sunscreen. They're less likely to practice safe sun habits. All of this, my husband is so guilty of this. I get so mad. And he likes the fact that he gets this initial red and that it turns into tan. Well, to me, that's like, we all thought that when we were 20 and 30.
Yeah.
I don't want to disparage my husband on this, but it is a frustrating thing for me, because it just looks like, oh, Kenny, you're getting older now, and I don't want him to have skin cancer, and I don't want him to die on me, so just do what I say.
Yes. It is not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
He needs a wife. Get him to the skin doctor.
That's right. And men, too, are also mistakenly believing that a tan is healthy and protects against sunburn, or that skin can't burn on a cloudy day, which it can.
Well, and here's the point about, friends, if you're listening and you're thinking to yourself, well, you're describing my husband, or you're describing me, or whatever. Yesterday is gone. Can't do anything about it. Let's start with today.
Yes.
So as we go forward, and we are going to get into some preventative things, but let's just not be too caught up in, oh no, what if I've already done the damage? Okay, if the damage is done, it's done. But now going forward, you're equipped with more information.
Yeah.
So now you can do different. Because you didn't know back then, or you thought you knew and you didn't, or whatever. All right, you want me to go over this ABCDE thing?
Yeah.
Okay, this is when it's talking about diagnoses of skin cancer from moles.
Yeah, like doing the self-checks, what to look for.
Yes. So they call it an ABCDE rule. And it's kind of easy to remember. A is for asymmetrical.
Yes.
If you see something wonky, and it like jets out at different
on one side
sections, it's asymmetrical, get that looked at. B is for border irregularities. So if you look at a mole on your body or on your partner's body or whatever, and you see that the border is funky, get that checked out.
Right.
Okay. C is for color. And if it has multicolors, and it's usually like browns or tans, and then there's a dark part of it, some like multicolors in there, get it checked out. Okay, D is for diameter. How big is it? Most stuff they said is about the size of a pencil eraser, and if it's bigger than that, get it checked out.
Yes.
And E is for evolution, meaning it makes changes. If you just suddenly notice, oh gosh, that thing's getting weird looking, or I would suggest even take a picture of your stuff, wherever it is, whatever. Just get a camera down there. Well, get a picture. And then compare.
And get a tape measure that has millimeters on it.
Yeah.
And that would be a really good way to look at it. Because without the tape measure, it's kind of hard. Because, depending on how you take the picture.
And I think when in doubt, get to the doctor.
Well, for sure.
Don't depend on yourself or Google. My goodness.
And call right away. I'm just going to say this real quick. Because it's really hard to get into a dermatologist. I don't know if there's like the scarcity or whatever, but they're backed up.
Yeah.
Like because people don't only go there for skin cancer. I mean, we're talking everything, all skin stuff, acne to actually plastic surgery and all kinds of things.
I would recommend, and I don't know if this is recommended on anything that you've looked at, but personally, Dr. Tracy is recommending go to a dermatologist once a year for a mole check. Once a year.
Yeah.
Just like you go for your dental checkups and just like you go for your wellness checkup or whatever, call a board certified dermatology office in your area, sign up for a checkup once a year, get on their schedule, whatever. Just do it.
I just did that, and I feel a little bit guilty. I had to cancel my appointment that's for this coming up Tuesday, and I have to go. I just got distracted. I got a text just now. Anyway, but I had to cancel because Kenny and I are going out of town.
Yeah.
And then, but I did reschedule. So that's good. Just a month off. And I do have something I want them to look at, but we'll see. Pray for me.
Yeah. Just get it looked at. Don't wait. And then there's also this thing called the ugly duckling.
Oh, yeah.
If you are a person who has a lot of moles anyway, so naturally you have more moles than maybe what the average person does, whatever. If you have one that just looks odd, like an ugly duck, like, oh, that's an ugly duck, get it checked because it could be something that's threatening to you. So those are the little tips.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to say?
Take care of yourselves, people.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we always have an inspirational close, so we'll share some scripture with you.
Okay.
And that is 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. And it says this, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies.
Yeah. God wants us to take care of the gift of life that he's given us.
Yeah.
Our bodies, they are temples. And so we should treat them as such.
Yeah. And we wish the very best wellness for everybody listening. If you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, we wish you prayers of blessing and wellness and preventative care. So make sure you take care of that.
Yeah, that's your call to action.
That's right. All right. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Cathrine. Bye-bye.